So Xbox Game Pass is delivering more new games this winter, and I'm going to have you here covered today. I'm Sonny, your host at Xbox Central, and we kick this off with the 1.0 release of Coral Island. And for those who are fans of games like Stardew Valley, there's really a lot of hype for Coral Island right now as it sees its 1.0 release today and it makes its way out of early access. And let me tell you guys, this game is jam-packed full of content. If you like the life sim, the farm simulation, and the relaxing adventures, this is the game that's going to do it, as it lets you create your own dream farm on an island. But what makes this unique compared to others in the same genre is that because you are on that island, you will also be able to explore a full ocean with an underwater full of people and life to explore, almost like living maybe like a little mermaid type of life. But a game like this of course comes with all the cool things that we like with this type of genre, things like farming and building up crops and even assembly lines with crops. I'm not even sure how that works, and then taking care of animals and owning pets. But the big draw to this game might be the over 70 plus characters you can meet and make friends with, all with their own unique stories and experiences to share. And of course guys, you can marry and even have a baby. So this is a game that kind of has it all, and there's really a ton of hype behind this game. And since it released over a year ago in early access, it has had thousands of positive user reviews. But the 1.0 release really drops all the main content, all the really meaty, beefy stuff that makes this game just so much better. This is now available on Xbox Series X and S and the cloud. Now, one of the more anticipated releases for this November Game Pass for JRPG fans has to be Persona 5 Tactica, which marks this as a day one Game Pass title. This is essentially like a reunion of your favorite characters from the series mixed with some fresh faces to really keep things fun and interesting. The story kicks off with the Phantom Thieves in a weird world under some tyrannical rule, but here's the twist. The battles are all about tactics in this game, hence the name. Tactica really represents a refreshing take on the Persona series, the traditional turn-based combat that really allows players to control a party of up to 3 characters on a grid-based map. But you guys can bet that this game will serve up some pretty epic battles and deep gameplay, especially with the all-out attack-inspired triple threat attack system that really makes things easier for your newbies without watering down the fun for the veterans. If you guys are a JRPG fan, I feel like this is a must-play. This will be landing on Game Pass on November 17th on cloud, consoles, and PC. So a year ago on PC Game Pass, we saw the release of Dune Spice Wars, but on the 28th of this month, we are getting it for consoles. And this is a good strategy game if you haven't heard about it before. Set in the Dune universe from Frank Herbert, and the first game releasing all the way back in 1992, this 4X real strategy title is all about the fight for spice, and that is the lifeblood and the theme of this game and your main objective. The reason that is, though, is because the spice is really the biggest thing that extends life, which, I mean, that's a big deal. It also makes you intellectually sharper, and it makes interstellar travel possible. Sounds like something I need in real life. So with all that in mind, you end up playing as one of the several factions that are duking it out for control of this spice, with what I'd say is a very deep political system embedded in this game, mixed with things like wars, of course, and then bribes, backroom deals, and of course micromanaging your people all in real time. It's a very in-depth strategy title that really lets you decide how you want to go about the politics of securing the most important resource in the known universe. And to do that, you're going to have the ability to flat out just be militarily stronger if that's the way you want to build, or just running those shady back deals could be the way that you really handle things. All of this really lends itself to you fully in the driver's seat and letting this play out in any way that you decide. Dune Spice is a good one if you're a strategy fan, and this makes one of the better strategy games on Game Pass, period. This arrives on November 28th on consoles and PC. Well, mysterious dark conspiracy in a retro future universe is what our next game's all about in Rollerdrome. And as far as the premise for this game, I think this one's pretty up there and pretty unique. In 2030, corporations run everything, and they use a new blood sport called Rollerdrome to really keep the masses distracted. That's where you come in, where you play a character who's determined to find the intentions behind these evil corporations. Now, the gameplay is what makes Rollerdrome very unique. A lot of people say it's almost like playing Tony Hawk with guns and bullets. This is a third-person shooter skate hybrid game where you're pulling off crazy tricks that lead to insanely cool gun actions, and put it simply, the game is extremely fast-paced, mixed with, of course, slow motion bullet timing, but also full-on dodge mechanics, and you'll really be challenging your gamer skills pretty highly with this game. If you're looking for a fast run and gun skating game, which is very oddly specific, this will be your jam, as it rides onto Game Pass on November 28th on Xbox Series X and S, cloud, and PC. Now, our next game is a first look at a December title in Steamworld Build, and of course this is inspired by the Steamworld franchise itself, only this game's quite a bit different to say the least, as this is a full-on city builder strategy game. Now, the premise here is that the planet around you is completely dying off, and you'll build a settlement to not only support every Steambot, but also your main objective is to dig underground and uncover an old technology that will help you survive. A rocket, to be exact, that'll take you to the new frontier and survive. Now, with a city builder like this, it has you managing the town folks, or I should say the bots, and you'll have to make them happy, making sure there's vital water for their steam, there's fuel, and whatever creature comforts they really desire. But the big job will be mining underground, which all comes with its own sorts of challenges, including being attacked by monsters who will definitely make it harder for you to discover the riches that you'll need to find below. The game also has a trading aspect to it as well. There will be 5 different maps, all with their own unique secrets to discover, a full-on sandbox mode, and finally this game will deliver full controller support. Steamworld Build lands on Game Pass on December 1st. With that, there is some games recently announced for Game Pass that I wanted to quickly go over. Manor Lords is set to arrive in 2024 in April. This is a medieval city builder that features a really complex economic and social simulations, and you're going to be building everything up from scratch to a central marketplace, farms, residential areas, commercial and even industrial districts. Also, you're going to ensure that you don't interfere, hopefully you're going to ensure that you don't interfere too much with building into like the hunting grounds and really mess with the ecosystem to where you can't even feed your people. And then there's the wars that can really go on between you and different factions, and you're gonna have to build up an army from scratch, and that will certainly lead to some pretty epic fights. But the cost of war will actually be felt among your town, as the loved ones will die and you're gonna experience the fallout of those people who are still left remaining. I mean, this game is set to be very in-depth, very complex, and if you're a huge fan of city builders and you wanted to do it in the medieval era, I think this could be your dream game. We'll of course see this next year. Another game coming next year is Commandos Origins, and this is the sequel to the original game. Here you take control of a team of special soldiers who've been selected on a mission with extreme importance of help saving the world, and the backdrop of this game is set in World War II. With these soldiers, you'll be commanding them to perform various missions that could be, rescuing a vital person of the war, or sabotaging supply lines behind enemy lines, or just flat out raiding an entire base to help the army. This is a real-time strategy game with 6 characters who all have their own specialties, and it's going to be up to you to put them in the right place to carry out the missions at all costs. The game has 10 missions in total, all with historically accurate environments native to World War II, and the game will feature an actual 2-player split screen, which I'm personally a huge fan of. Commando Origins lands onto Game Pass sometime in 2024. Our next game is a new indie title just newly announced for Game Pass in Vapor World. This is a 2D Souls-like adventure where your darkest dreams and nightmares have actually become the battleground, filled with unthinkable horrors. Set with a unique hand-drawn painted art style, you'll be fighting enemies called traumas, and those will lead you to the boss battles that get increasingly intense and hard. If you guys are a fan of Souls-like games, I think this is a good one. No release date yet, but this will be releasing on Game Pass. With that, guys, we have quite a few titles that are confirmed to release onto Game Pass that were slated to release by the end of 2023, and we just haven't heard much about release dates. So I guess this is kind of my guess for potential games for next month and a half, starting with Turnip Boy Robs a Bank. I've been really excited for this one. Essentially, you game plan and execute high-stakes heists that has you stealing some valuable loot, but if things go really wrong, you might have to take hostages or just flat out shoot it out with the fuzz. Then we have the game Ereban Shadow Legacy. This was supposed to come out this year. Hopefully it still lands on Game Pass. This is a stealth action platformer that has you investigating your past as you've forgotten it and you're trying to save the universe. And finally, we haven't had an update on the game Hollow Knight Silksong. This was slated for a 2023 release, and so far it's been crickets. This is still set to be the biggest indie game release of the past few years. I mean, this is massive. The original Metroidvania title Hollow Knight has been one of the best indie games that's ever been made, and we Game Pass fans and indie fans are really still anticipating the release. Hopefully we get to hear that announcement and we get to see the release by the end of the year, so fingers crossed on that. As always, guys, we have games that are leaving sadly on Game Pass. I'm going to put those up on the screen. You do get a solid 20% discount if you want to buy them before they go, but since the holidays are here, you might be looking for games to play with your friends and family, so I made a list of the best ones on the screen.